Lil Toro is a rapper from up north, California. He's part of the red team, the Norteños. He's been doing a lot of crashing out lately, going viral for doing crazy stuff like coming to Southern California and walking through the LA streets looking for his ops.
I'm right here in Los Angeles, bro. I'm out here in LA, bro. Where you at, bro? You talking about you looking for Toro, bro? Toro came to your area, bro. You really a Sureño, bro. Porterville's in the sewer, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fake ass suckers, bro. I'm right here, bro.
Before we break this story down a little bit, what are your general thoughts when you hear something like that?
That's insanity. That's crazy. Literally. Like, oh man, that sounds like somebody with a death wish.
Now, unfortunately, Lil Toro had his life taken from him this past week. Details are a bit sketchy, but it sounds like he got hit in the neck with something sharp by someone, and that is what ended his life. You know, once again, the details are sketchy, but now knowing that he's gone after hearing what he was doing just 2 weeks ago online, what are your general thoughts on that?
Death wish. I mean, it's hard to not see how the two might be related, you know, that kind of behavior and then the outcome. You know, gang life and criminal lifestyle and criminality, that stuff is real, man.
How do you think mental health is a part of this? I mean, this, to me, if I was an outsider, know nothing about the life, and you were telling me, trying to explain this to me, it would sound to me like a person with mental health issues.
So I think mental health has become like a buzzword culturally for us, and we just blanket that over anybody that has like erratic behavior, and it does not do anything to help people who have mental health issues or to help the people who have family members that have mental health issues understand what it is and what to do about it. So I want to take the audience on a little journey through the DSM-5. The DSM-5 is the diagnostic criteria that courts use, attorneys use, clinicians use to diagnose disorders and to help come up with treatment plans. So I keep me a little pocket-sized DSM-5.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I keep a little pocket-sized one on me as a life coach and counselor. It helps for me to be able to understand what some of the people that I'm out here helping might be dealing with. So let's just take a look at some of these quote-unquote mental health issues, some of the disorders that are out there, right? And it's a lengthy list, so I'll just go through a few of them. You got neurodevelopmental disorders, schizophrenia spectrum, bipolar, depressive, anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders. You got trauma and stress-related disorders, dissociative, somatic, feeding and eating disorders, elimination disorders, sleep-wake disorders, sexual dysfunctions, gender dysphoria, disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders, substance-related and addictive disorders, neurocognitive, personality, paraphilic, and other mental disorders out there. There's a lot. The human body and mind is such a fragile thing, and there's a lot that can and often does go wrong with a human being. And it's a sad thing that many of the people who come from where we come from, Black and Latino, Asian, poor, middle class to lower socioeconomic class, oftentimes we don't get diagnosed with any of this until you wind up in the system. Juvenile hall, YA, prison, or whatever it is. You finally get in there, they diagnose you, they put you on a treatment plan, you know, some form of therapy. There's different kind of therapies. You got holistic therapies, you got recreational therapies, and then you have like the medications that they'll prescribe you. So you actually get a treatment plan and time with a psychologist or psychiatrist or both to help you work through whatever kind of mental or physical health dysfunction or disorder that a person might have. Then you get kicked out of the system, you end up going home, and all of the treatment stops. They don't continue to send you pamphlets in the mail. They don't send you medication in the mail. There's nowhere for you to go get free therapy. It just stops. The disorder kicks back in, and then you see this erratic behavior that leads to situations like the young man who lost his life walking around LA talking crazy about his ops. Like he's just invincible. Like, you know, so there's a lot that goes on, man, and I think that we just need to be on top of our health, physical, mental, and spiritual, and we got to come up with some solutions for people who don't know how to seek out treatment or can't afford treatment in the community.
Yeah. Something like this, what this man was doing, going to an ops hood. You know, obviously when you were coming up, there weren't cell phones, so you couldn't really do that. But was that ever a thing, going to the ops hood and just, I'm in your neighborhood, and just yelling it out loud, or however, you know, we used to however it was done back then? Was that ever a thing, or is this a new thing with this new generation?
I can't say that it was a thing. If a person did that, it was to get the violence started right there on the spot. It wasn't like broadcasting. You know, if you went and you jumped out and you start calling them out, you hoping that they come out, that they materialize, so you can start the shootout. But not just like to walk through somebody's hood and that don't make no sense. You know. So I don't know. I think a lot of this has to do with this selfie culture that we in, where everything's live, everything's viral, you know, and this cult of celebrity, that's what I call it, with this worship of people that's famous, you know, that goes on sometimes. And when a person is suffering or struggling with these disorders, right, one of the things that can make a person feel good is to be seen and to be heard outside of drugs and alcohol. That's one of the things that makes people feel good in the grip of one of those crushing disorders. And so with this selfie culture and being able to film yourself and broadcast it to the world, you can be seen and heard, and you can get your little temporary fix of sanity for a minute. But at the same time, it can cost your life, as we've seen with that young man, unfortunately.
Can you explain a little bit about mental health behind bars and some of the things that you've seen or experienced with your own eyes of people who were, I guess for the lack of better words, mentally unstable, and it wasn't checked before they came in there?
So right now in 2025, I've seen mental health at a level I've never seen it inside these walls, where there's hundreds of mental health patients on the yard, more than I've ever seen. And that's not to say that there wasn't mental health patients back in the days. I think it was a little bit more private, a little bit more kept inside, you know, kept behind closed doors. Maybe your cellie knew that you was taking medication or something like that. But now it is like, you know, who's dealing with mental health. They call them EOP. That's a designation, extended outpatient program. That's a designation for people that's enrolled in the department's delivery system to get those people treated. I'm talking about, man, statewide, out of the 92,000, there's got to be tens of thousands of people that's in EOP right now, that's in inside the California Department of Corrections. So it's like never before. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that so many of them are young. I'm talking about people that's under the age of 30, you know, like really young. And one of the common denominators I'm seeing as a youth counselor in here, I'm a youth offender mentor. I counsel these young men that's under the age of 26. One of the things that I'm seeing with that demographic, that age group, is the drug usage is like the hard drugs is out of control. You know, like when I was coming up, you couldn't just openly do hard drugs as a kid, 16, 15, 14 years old. You couldn't smoke crack, shoot heroin. You couldn't, you know, you get off the speed as a child in my neighborhood, in my community. And if an adult was supplying you with that, there was repercussions for the adult because you're turning the babies into crackheads. This was a no-no. Now I'm seeing and hearing the stories in group as they're sharing their stories with us of kids doing drugs with their parents and with their big homies. So, and then you see the progression that by the time they're in their 20s and they wind up in the system with 50 years to life, 40 years, 30 years, whatever it is, 100 years, the mental health disorders kick in, and now they're enrolled into EOP. I'm talking about really gone, like kind of people that, the kind of behavior that would make you say, man, oh boy, crazy as a motherfucker. Like talking to himself crazy. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you, might have a couple more minutes for this specific topic, but prison is obviously already a dangerous place. Has the
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Has the level of danger gone up since there are more mentally unstable people on the yard?
No, the level of danger hasn't, in the places I've been, hasn't gone up. They keep the people that's in EOP in separate housing units. So they group them all together. They call it clustering. The department, they call it clustering when they put a bunch of people with the same situation, same thing going on with them together. So, like here, for instance,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
they have special units, dorms. They got 3 dorms just for people in EOP. So the violence hasn't gone up as much as you would think with having people with mental health issues in prison. But the thing that I have seen that has gone up is a spike in drug usage inside the prisons.